Disappointing weekend for the Blue Jackets, but they have a chance to make it up to us tonight as they face the San Jose Sharks in their final third of the California road trip. That's what's coming up today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster. Thank you for making us your first listen or your first watch of the day. If you are not watching on the YouTubes, you probably should be, because today I am wearing a very excellent hat that has the state of Minnesota on it. But don't worry, it is all Ohio talk all the time here. And we've got lots to talk about. So we're going to start off with talking to Sarah Avampato, host of Locked On LA Kings. We did a little game preview on Friday, and last night we recorded a little bit of a game review. We talked about the Kings Blue Jackets game. So that's going to be kind of the first segment. And then the second segment will come back to just me, and we're going to talk about the Anaheim Ducks game, because I feel like there's a lot more to talk about in that game than you may think. And finally, we're going to take a quick look at the San Jose Sharks, how they're doing, and how we think tonight's game might turn out. But for now, I will turn it over to Sarah and me as we talk about the loss to the LA Kings.
If you missed our preview episode, we both took some predictions on how that game was going to go, and I have gone with my tried and true tactic of saying the Kings were going to lose because otherwise they blow it. And we both predicted 4-3 overtime wins, both in Columbus's favor, and that's not what we got at all.
Every time I think these horrible children cannot possibly disappoint me more, they lose 2-1 to the Los Angeles Kings, who, in fairness, have been the better team for the bulk of the season. However, they have even more baby defensemen than the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
And they have not been very good defensively this season. So the fact that you only managed to score one goal against this LA Kings roster, which as far as I'm aware, is still literally just Matt Wright and children.
Yeah.
What the heck, guys?
Yeah.
To add insult to injury, one of the Kings murdered Patrik Laine in cold blood. So once I figure out who that was, I will be coming for them.
Yeah.
But just man, what a boring goddamn game.
I was expecting like much looser, much more chaotic. Instead, the third period was just like a slog. The first period was exciting because that's when most of the goals happened, at least for the Kings. Second period, obviously there was a little bit of life in Columbus, and they get on the board, and you're like, okay, 1-goal game, third period, anything can happen. The shot count for the third period was 8 shots for each team. That's not thrilling.
I mean, technically nothing is still anything. Anything did happen. Justin Brown scored a minute and a half into the game, and I was like, I see how this game is going to go. And then both teams took that personally, I think.
And Dustin, that was it was not a very Dustin Brown goal, because a Dustin Brown goal is oops, it went off my butt. And this was a nice goal.
Deliberate. Yeah, he scored on purpose, which I'm not used to Dustin Brown doing. Just man, I talked about this in so Sarah and I had a group chat with some other chaotic hockey fans, and I was looking at the playoff picture in the West, and I was like, I think my horrible blue children need to take one for the team tonight to, unite against the greater good and
Mhm.
prevent Vegas from making the playoffs. So I guess
I mean,
I
wish
thought that it would
fulfilled.
be a fun loss instead of the
Right.
only goal was Sean Corrali scoring like a minute into the second period, which
Yeah.
like, hey, yay, Sean Corrali. And the Blue Jackets do a really fun thing where you get free curly fries if a Blue Jacket scores in the second period. But
What?
I wanna take a look at this actually. I feel like Sean Corrali scores all of his goals in the second period, so the Blue Jackets have taken to just tweeting Corrali fries instead
That's
of curly fries, which is
fantastic.
extremely good. But yeah, like if there was only going to be one goal in the game, I did not expect
Right.
it to be a Sean Corrali
Yeah.
goal. Dublin,
Yeah.
Ohio native Sean Corrali. It's like Long Beach native Matt Nieto. Yeah,
Right, or,
he does
Thousand
it.
Oaks native, Trevor Moore. Um, you know, love that hometown boy. But yeah, you did take one for the team and help advance the cause of
And I
preventing
assume
Vegas.
our sacrifice will be talked about for decades to
It
come.
will. It will, regardless of like who wins the Stanley Cup, there will be like a footnote on it that's like Columbus helped Vegas not get in the playoffs. Just a
That's
little.
the thing. Like the Blue Jackets, I believe, were already eliminated earlier that night
Mhm.
because Montreal got curb stomped by Washington,
Yeah,
which
one does.
seems like that's expected, I
Yeah.
think. But the fact that we were eliminated through no fault of our own, I was like, okay, well, at this point, fine. Like I like
Right.
that. Clearly I like the Kings enough to talk about them at
Right.
least once a week. I will allow it. Like if we had to lose to a California team, like I'm okay losing to the Kings. They
Yeah.
did embarrass themselves against the Ducks the very next day, which I will talk about in Locked On Blue Jackets in just a minute, I'm sure. But man, like I've got a bad feeling about this San Jose game that's coming up
Oh. Oh, no. Oh,
tomorrow
you're
night.
that's right. You're on the, like, the
We're
circuit.
on the California swing, yeah.
Yeah.
The no longer Death Valley trip, but the Blue Jackets typically have not fared well in California basically ever.
Yeah.
So
And usually it's, like it was, like, always Jeff Carter or, back in the day, Marian Gaborik would be the one who's like, "Game-winning goal." I feel like this is, like, the first time that they've been back since they traded Jeff because COVID season, I mean, that's totally irrelevant to the Blue Jackets' life, but, like
yeah, no. So actually, do you know? So I went to a Blue Jackets Kings game in Los Angeles in I want to say 2017. It was the 2017 California swing, and the Blue Jackets lost in overtime, and the game-winning goal was scored by Alec Martinez. So
that's what he
I was like,
does.
you know what, this feels right. I think that was a 2-1 game as well, actually. That
Probably.
was a really weird road trip. They like shut out the Ducks for nothing, lost it overtime to the Kings on an Alec Martinez goal, and then Scott Hartnell scored against San Jose. It's just a really weird. I think there was a butt goal, which makes sense for Scott Hartnell, but
Right,
like,
that's the thing that happened.
yeah. So the Blue Jackets did not do well
No.
this weekend, and I'm not on Blue Jackets in a minute. We are going to talk about the Ducks game because I guess we probably should. On Locked On Kings, however, we're going to talk about much more fun things
Yeah.
because the Rain spent a bunch of time beating up on the Gulls, which, you absolutely love to see it. So we're going to talk about that in a minute on Locked On Kings, Locked On Blue Jackets. We're going to talk about how my Suns keep disappointing me, and also more of them are dead now. But first, I've got to tell you about a new sponsor, and this is something that I use literally every day. Athletic Greens is well, it works for everything. I was trying to find a way to describe Athletic Greens, but it is It is 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. They support gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. And now you see why I can't describe exactly what they are, because they kind of are and do a little bit of everything to improve your day, to help you start your day right, and to just kind of make you feel a little bit better, especially, we're getting into April, the summer's coming. The summer's coming for me. I don't know that the summer is coming where Sarah is in Chicago, because I don't know that they're done with winter yet, but you wanna start your day right, and so you should start it with Athletic Greens. It is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, and it is, basically, it's a multivitamin, and instead of taking a bunch of pills, you can just do 1 scoop of Athletic Greens in a cup of water, and that is everything you need for your day. Right now, it is time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It is, like I said, just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a bajillion different supplements to look out for your health. And to make it even easier, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Once again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe over there, because you could be entered to win a commemorative Rick Nash puck from his jersey retirement night. When I hit 100 subscribers over on YouTube, I'm going to be giving that away. So make sure you are subscribed over there and be in with a chance of winning. So the Kings game was, as we just discussed with Sarah, bad and boring. The Blue Jackets Ducks game was more exciting, if nothing else. The Blue Jackets lost 6-4 after a rough third period. They battled back. I believe it was 5-4, and then the Ducks got the empty netter to put the game out of reach. But lots more to talk about than a very, very boring 2-1 loss to the LA Kings. And like I said, it was a little bit more exciting. The Ducks opened the scoring 3 minutes in, and that's kind of it was the same feeling that I had when the Blue Jackets played the Kings the night before. When they got scored on like a minute and a half in, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I see how this game is going to go. And the game was apparently they saved all of the chaos for the Ducks game, which I don't necessarily appreciate. Goal for Troy Terry, his 35th of the season. Jake Bean answered back less than a minute later. Really good to see him score. He hasn't scored in a minute. Troy Terry tries again, scores again. In fact, it is 2-1, less than 6 minutes into the game. So that probably tells you a little bit about how optional the defense was for both teams. 3-1 Ducks as Jerry Mayhew scores, who I feel like he scored his first goal against the Blue Jackets when he was a Flyer. I feel like his first NHL goal was against the Blue Jackets, and now he's in Anaheim and still disrespecting me personally. It's 3-1. Not a great first period. The Blue Jackets outshot the Ducks, but JF Berube making his first start in a while. Elvis finally got to rest after being very, very good against the Kings. Not quite good enough to get the win, but he did everything he could to keep the Blue Jackets in it. Honestly, Berube, I don't know what I was expecting. Potentially, another bonkers performance like his earlier season performances, but it was not to be. He made officially, I think he made 30 of 35 saves, which is not terrible, but also is not the Berube that I think a lot of people potentially thought was what they were getting. Which, I mean, it's Jeff Berube. He's like the fourth string goalie, or the fourth string goalie, who has spent most of the time backing up in Cleveland. So it is what it is. Blue Jackets battle back in the second period, which is really good to see. Jake Bean gets his second of the game, which have yourself a night, Jake Bean. That goal was extremely good because the only assist went to Adam Boquist, who again has decided he is not a defenseman. He is a forward or potentially a rover because he has been spending too much time with Zach Werenski. Werenski missed this game. The Blue Jackets were also without Patrik Laine, who was injured in the Kings game. He's day to day. I don't know whether he's playing tonight, but it could be a long night if he's not. Werenski played, I think, like a minute and a half of this game before leaving with an upper body injury, and I am slightly concerned on account of how he's missed significant time over the past couple of months due to hits to the head, one in the Toronto game versus one in the Toronto game. It was Wayne Simmons, and then I feel like he got hit in the head by someone else like 3 games later. So not great news. Worried about that. Not because the Blue Jackets are going to miss him necessarily, because I think they will, but because hits to the head are serious, and it's not great when your number one defenseman keeps getting hit in the head. But Adam Boquist is stepping up and being the rover that Zach Werenski wants him to be. Jake Bean gets the goal, second of the night. Sean Corrali ties it up halfway through the second period. It's 3-3. He's got his 14th of the season, and it's looking not terrible for the Blue Jackets. Unfortunately, Travis Zegras exists. He scores his 21st of the season, followed up by Cam Fowler, who I feel like we don't talk enough about how the Ducks have a guy called Fowler. It's very similar to how the Kings had a guy called Dwight King a couple of seasons ago. It's just very appropriate and very funny. Makes it 5-3, and even though Cole Sillinger scores his 14th of the season, obviously we talked with Tony Ferrari at the weekend about what a season he's having. Scores his 14th. Jake Voracek hits 50 goals, which according to Jackets insider Jeff Svoboda is the 4th most assists in a single season for a Blue Jackets player. So it'll be really interesting to see if he manages to break that record with, I think, 7 games to go, 6 or 7 games. Still plenty of time for Jake Voracek to set some records in his return to Columbus, which would be super fun. Derek Grant gets the empty netter 6-4, and that is all she wrote. This was the chaos game that I was expecting from the Kings game, honestly. It was just a whole mess. I don't know that there was necessarily anything good or bad about this game. It just was. I think the goaltending could have been stronger. Obviously, losing Werenski hurt. Being without Patrik Laine also hurt. I thought Kent Johnson playing increased minutes looked good. Nick Blankenburg continues to be a surprisingly steady force. He was on the second pairing with Vladislav Gavrikov, and I liked that pairing a lot. I'll be interested to see if that continues in tonight's game. We can only hope, because I have been super impressed with Nick Blankenburg. He played over 20 minutes, and he was a -2 on the night, but he was not the worst by a long shot. And so, yeah, I'll be interested to see how tonight goes. If Werenski is missing, if they'll stay with the same defense pairings. I hope so, because feels real kind of, this is as good as it's going to get, you know. Adam Peake, wow. Andrew Peake continues to play a bajillion minutes. Jake Bean played a lot. Adam Boquist led the team in ice time, which was kind of surprising, but I think is probably a good sign. He was also he was even on the night, which is good. Somehow Justin Danforth was a +2 on the night, which is extremely funny, considering the Blue Jackets allowed 6 goals. And I believe they were all even strength goals as well. So, apart from the internetter, obviously. So that's cool and fun. In a minute, we are going to talk about tonight's game against the San Jose Sharks. We're going to check in with them, see who's good, who's not so good, what the goalie situation is like for them, because it's kind of up in the air, I think. And yeah, that's coming up in a minute on Locked On Blue Jackets. But first, I want to tell you about Built Bar, because Built Bar is delicious, it is nutritious, it is just an all-around treat. If you don't know what a Built Bar is by now, then clearly you are new here, but a Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes just like a candy bar. And if you haven't tried the Built Puffs, you are missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. They are a protein-infused marshmallow. They are fluffy. They are delicious. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in a bunch of incredible flavors. There's churro, there's coconut marshmallow, there's banana cream pie, there's brownie batter. They are good as hell. Built bars are low calorie, they are high protein, they are high fiber, they are low carb. You can't lose with a Built bar, and I think that you should go to built.com where you can use promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Once again, that's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And if you feel like spending the money that you've just saved over at built.com, then maybe put some money on tonight's game and bet the over, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of goals. And you can do that over at betonline.net. They are your number one source for all of your betting stats and sports information. You can find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. They've got boxing, they've got UFC, they've got your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today, once again, at betonline.net. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action, because BetOnline is where the game starts. So let's talk about the Sharks, because they are a team that exists. They are battling with they're kind of in that same area as the Blue Jackets. They are battling for finishing bottom 10 in the league, getting that chance at Shane Wright. And they are currently 29, 34, and 12, 70 points with a 4.67 winning percentage. Hilariously, the Blue Jackets are playing 500 hockey this season, which I think probably speaks to just kind of how much of a Thunderdome the Metropolitan Division is. But we'll see how it goes. This feels like it's going to be even messier. I think Elvis is going to be back in net, so that'll probably help a little bit. But the Sharks are such a weird team. I feel like they should be way better than they are. In terms of players to watch, Brent Burns has 4 points in his last 5 games, all of them assists. Timo Meier has 2 goals in his last 5 games. They've just re-signed Tomas Hertl, who has been really, really good for them this season. Obviously, they've got their own University of Michigan boy, Thomas Bordelot, who he had 3 assists in his San Jose Barracuda AHL debut, immediately signed his entry level, and has looked pretty good for the Sharks so far. He got an assist in his first NHL game, which it'll be fun to watch him, having watched a bunch of his Michigan games, just because he played on the same team as Kent Johnson last season. He's going to be real fun to watch. He might be. Honestly, I feel like he's probably going to score his first NHL goal tonight, because the Blue Jackets love to give people their first NHL goals, or their first goals of the season, or whatever it is, their first goal in like a bajillion games. So I'm calling Thomas Bordelot to score his first NHL goal tonight, because that's just kind of what the Blue Jackets do. In terms of players to watch for the Blue Jackets, Jack Roslovic has 5 goals in his last 5 games. Obviously, he scored those in like 2 games total. He got 7 points in his last 4 games. Gus Nyquist, who I feel like we haven't talked enough about this season. And at some point, I am going to sit down and talk a lot about Gus Nyquist. He has 6 points in his last 5 games. He has 6 assists, in his last 5 games. And he has just quietly been really, really good for the Blue Jackets. He was a former Shark, so look to him to potentially have a big night. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a Gus Nyquist revenge game, but it would be neat if it was. In terms of other things, the Sharks have a better power play. Somehow the Sharks are 3rd in the league in the penalty kill, and I don't know how that happened or when that happened, but that's bonkers. They have a better face-off percentage. They allow less goals per game. The Blue Jackets score more goals per game. But that's really the only stat that they beat the Sharks in, which is fine, I guess. In terms of like fun goalie things, JF Berube obviously allowed 5 goals on 30 shots last night, or last game, and still has a 9-10 on the season, which is extremely funny. He's only played 5 games, and his goals against is 3.61, but he allowed 5 goals on 30 shots and is on 35 shots, and still has a 9-10, which is just extremely funny to me. I predict that the Blue Jackets will lose, because why not complete the California road trip with a reverse? It's not a reverse sweep, like an opposite sweep, an inverse sweep. I don't know. Lose to all 3 California teams is what's going to happen. The Blue Jackets won the last time these 2 teams faced each other. It was a 6-4 win. there was just a real messy game. So maybe we'll have that again. We can only hope. I'm going to predict a 5-3 Sharks win with a Thomas Bordelot game-winning goal, because that just feels like what the Blue Jackets are going to give me. I will not be watching this game live because it starts at 3:30 a.m. my time, and I have to go do day job in the morning, but I will watch it when I wake up, between waking up and going to said day job. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe they'll surprise me. I suspect that they won't. But that's kind of all I've got for you today. Tomorrow, we're going to look at tonight's game and see how that is going. And then later in the week, I think we're going to try and get some more prospect reviews done, or prospect profiles, because obviously Blue Jackets out of the playoffs, free falling down the standings. They are kind of battling for that kind of 11th or 12th overall position, which does mean that they can drop down to second if they manage to, which would be super fun and neat. But so we'll do some more prospect profiles, take a look at who the Blue Jackets could potentially draft. Thank you for making this once again your first listen or your first watch of the day, despite the fact that it is 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's fine. If this is your first watch of the day, then I appreciate you. If it's not your first watch of the day, then I also appreciate you. Locked On Blue Jackets continues to be free and available on all podcast platforms. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. If you're watching on YouTube, then it's down here, so you know how to spell it. You can find the show over at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, we might do a mailbag later this week, which I think will be fun. You can email things to lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Have a wonderful Thursday. It's not Thursday. Wow. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Enjoy the game tonight if you can. And remember to stay locked on.